gets better at some things with age. Yeah, so processing speed may somewhat decline if you don't train that part of your brain, but your vocabulary, pattern recognition, judgment, seeing the big picture often, that improves well into what we call the middle age. This is why an experienced CEO can make better strategic decisions than someone who is 20 years younger. And the goal isn't to think like a 25-year-old self, right? The goal is to protect the advantages that you have now. The goal is to optimize your brain for the whole next season of your life. Now, there's something that people have been starting to talk about more, but I really want to emphasize the importance of building muscle. Muscle is one of the best investments you can make for your brain. Most women think that strength training is about looking toned. And then there's that whole thing of like, I don't want to get too bulky. Please do not fear getting too bulky. When I had my fitness studio years ago and women would say that, I would say, do you think you're just going to wake up one day, look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, where did all these muscles come from? Right? Like, you don't need to worry about being bulky. Strength training is for your brain. Okay, skeletal muscle isn't just for movement. Okay, a big part of it is movement, but it's an endocrine organ that releases signaling molecules that communicate during exercise with the brain. Exercise increases BDNF, which is, I've seen it called as fertilizer for the brain, because it supports learning, it supports memory, it supports the formation of neural connections. How cool is that? I mean, at least for me, who I'm like a brain nerd. Now, meta-analyses show that exercise raises BDNF levels in older adults, including women. This is important, including women, because up until about 20 to 30 years ago, everything was done on men. Furthermore, studies suggest that resistance training improves executive function, memory, processing in older adults, older actually 30 and up, with some evidence showing that women may benefit especially in the executive function part. As you see, this is not just for building muscle's sake, for the looks, although obviously, why not? You're building a whole new and better environment for your brain. Not to mention that exercise is the #1 best antidepressant ever. Listen, if one thing is true about age is that 40s don't play. I always say this to women, 40s don't play. They make you up your standards and they will show you everything that you're doing wrong. And they will amplify it. They're showing you every wrong turn you take. And if you don't adapt, you won't recognize yourself in 50s and beyond. Let's talk further about the brain, because I think I emphasized the muscle enough. Your brain is running on a tighter budget after 40. And this is because several things are changing. Sleep becomes lighter for many women, which should not be accepted as the norm. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. Sleep needs to be optimized. But what happens for most women, it gets light, stress accumulates, hormones shift, muscle often declines if you're not training. That's starting in the 30s, by the way. Insulin sensitivity can decrease. And none of these automatically cause brain fog, but all of them together, and your brain's going to be like, yeah, we're not doing this together. Most women lose muscle, and going back to muscle for a moment, most women lose muscle without realizing it. Here's another surprising stat. After about age 30, most adults lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade. That's what I'm saying. This starts in 30s. And this accelerates after 60 if strength training is not maintained. So if muscle helps you regulate blood sugar and supports metabolism and communicates with brain, what happens when you lose it? I know I'm jumping here, but like muscle is so important to stress as to like how connected it is to brain, because nobody thinks about muscle as brain insurance. And it is one of the most important things you can do for yourself in 40s. Hormones change in 40s, but hormones changing with all these other things like increased stress, sleep disruptions, loss of muscle, that's what causes a havoc. It's not just hormonal changes. So I talk a little bit more on the hormones that shift. There's plenty of other hormones that we don't even talk about that actually shift in the body. But 40s amplify what you've done in your 20s and 30s. And if you have not been optimizing your brain, the next best time is today. Because if you ignore these changes, brain fog comes, slower thinking comes, poor memory comes, reduced mental resilience comes. You can't handle things the way you used to. And that's not because you're suddenly getting old. It's because your brain has not been supported. Brain can handle a lot of abuse in 20s and 30s. Alcohol, sleepless nights, a lot. Stress. In 40s, things change. But the encouraging news is that the brain is remarkably adaptable. The choices that you're making in your 40s are such as building muscle, protecting sleep, managing your blood sugar, staying active. All of those aren't about feeling better today. They're literally an investment in how you will think and work and live today, tomorrow, and over the next 20 and 30 years. Research shows that during and after menopause, some brain regions involved in memory and thinking, like hippocampus and parts of the prefrontal cortex, can undergo actual structural changes. This is not a verdict for the future, by the way, but I do want you to understand how important it is that you do everything that you can to optimize your brain and your body. Your brain is remarkably adaptable. It's insane. You can create a whole new brain in your lifetime. And the things that you need to implement would be strength training. And let me talk about how to do this in a minute. Strength training, regular exercise and movement, quality sleep, clean nutrition, no sugar, no alcohol. Learning new skills. Okay, I think every business owner out there is like, I'm learning new things every day, whether I want to or not. And managing chronic stress. All of these things support your brain function as you age. Because 40s don't play, okay? They're gonna amplify everything that you're doing. Now, how to implement this? Because it's easy to hear this and be like, yeah, I know I need all these things, but like, goes overhead. You do one tiny thing at a time. What I do with my clients is I teach them SCA, small, consistent action. Make your goal so ridiculously small that your brain cannot talk you out of doing that. Because yes, the same brain we're talking about is going to try to talk you out of doing things that are good for it. Go figure. Why? Because we haven't established habits over the last 20 years. Okay, so strength training. You're like, but Lex, I really, really hate going to the gym. Don't go to the gym. What do you like? I have a client this was our exact conversation, and she was like, I know I need to lift weights. I don't want to. Fine. What do you like? She's like, well, I walk my dogs 2 times a day, 3 dogs 2 times a day. I said, all right, can we increase those walks? Can we add some weights? Can we do a few bench exercises? And she's like, yeah. So we started doing that. Guess what? After a while, the body it wanted to get stronger. So she started doing more and more and ended up going to the gym. And now she's actually a hiker. Every weekend she goes somewhere and hikes. It's like the whole identity shift. Sleep. There's a million things you can do for your sleep, and I'll have a whole separate theme of sleep on what you can do. But start by getting a blue light filter, or darkening a room, or having a set sleep schedule. Start learning. This goes to learning new skills. Start learning what you can do to get a better sleep. Nutrition. When I say no sugar, no alcohol, that's the end result. If you're eating sugar and alcohol, cutting it out, if you're not really serious, cutting out cold turkey doesn't work for most people. So lower it, substitute things, find what works. Instead of sugar, use monk fruit for a while until your taste buds change. Real monk fruit, not additives. You have to read the ingredients. It's like ridiculous. Why? Because 40s are not going to play with you. They're going to show you everything that you do. You're going to feel it right away. You're going to feel it for a few days, and you're setting up your life for the next few decades. Now, with age, with 40s, your brain becomes less forgiving. Okay? When you're 25, you can survive living on ramen noodles, wine, pizza, stress, terrible sleep or lack of sleep, dehydration. At 44, 45, your brain sends you the bill. Okay, nothing changed overnight now. It's that the margin got smaller. But let's go to the good news. The problem is not like, oh, I'm 47, there's nothing I can do. No. Your brain responds directly to sleep, movement, strength, protein, hydration, blood sugar, stress. These are the conditions. So once again, sleep, movement, strength, protein intake, hydration, blood sugar, and stress. These are brain's conditions, and conditions can improve. So I don't think that women over 40 need to accept feeling mentally slower or different or have brain fog. You hear these words and they become a common theme, and then you think they're normal. They're not. They don't need to be. We've accepted too many things as an excuse. I'm just aging. But your brain is actually constantly adapting to the environment that it lives in. So before you assume that the best years are behind you and reminisce on what you used to get away with in your 20s and 30s, ask yourself, what conditions has my brain been trying to perform under? And this is not to feel the guilt and the shame and the self-judgment. This is just to say, okay, let me put my big girl pants on, take myself seriously. I have all these dreams and goals that I want to accomplish, but what do I need to do today? Because here's what the brain does. You set all these goals and dreams, and it gives you the hype. It gives you the dopamine. It's like, oh, it's going to feel so great. But then it actually talks you out of doing it today. So write in the comments, wherever you're watching this, one thing that you're going to start changing to optimize your brain. And then when you get used to that, we'll get to the next one and the next one and the next one. And before you know it, your brain is going to operate at the best level possible because you gave it the best conditions. People talk about karma as in, oh, someone did us wrong and they're going to get their karma back. Karma is input-output. Karma is you get what you put out. But also, your body and your brain are going to give you what you gave it, what you fueled it with. So have you been fueling your brain? Have you been fueling your body? And then you can't simply turn around. I mean, you can, free country, but like you should not simply turn around and just shame your brain and your body. Oh, I have brain fog. It must be my hormones. Hormones are just a part of the whole equation. When we blame just the hormones, we're basically saying, oh, well, I did everything else right. So it's the problem that I can't control. No, take control. And if you're like, well, what can I even do? What is the first step? Listen, I have a 3-minute brain performance reset toolkit. It's $27 right now, depends on where you're watching. It's 4 tools done under 3 minutes, actually a couple of them are 30 seconds. That would be your start. This is something that you can do in between calls, in between tasks to get your brain sharper. Is it a solution? No. It's not a solution for everything, but it will help you to get started on things that you can do every day. Once you start doing these things regularly for 30 seconds and you start seeing the effect and you set that up as your new habit, it will be so easy to add on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you're starting with, and I'll leave the link with the Reset Toolkit that you can purchase now.